welcome back to the Procurement and Finance Coffee Break. I'm Claire Green, your finance transformation expert, and I'm joined by Richard and Frank today. Richard, why don't you introduce yourself, and Frank?
I'm still, I think, a procurement guru. I'm just not a calling people the right name guru. So I'm going to see if I can mend that one. And Frank Hojgaard, lovely to meet you, founder, CEO of Readynez. We're going to hear a lot about that. Which is, a topic close to my heart, virtual training. So you're one of the leading virtual IT training providers. And it's great to have you with us. I mean, impressive journey, and I'm looking forward to hear you share that with our listeners. But in particular, I think you've got a great story about not only helping others to transform, but how you transformed. But before we do that, why don't we hear about yourself and your business to set the scene?
Thank you very much, Richard. And Claire, thanks for having me. Real pleasure. Hope we can get a good session here with some interesting topics for your listeners and viewers. So I've been in the IT training industry for 20 plus years, always focused around instructor-led training in the physical classroom. And about 16 years ago, I founded Readynez. That we founded because we thought there was a room for a very different provider where we had a residential model. So it was really based around people coming to us, living, staying, focusing, immersing into the topic and learning as much as possible, as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
And so we've done now for many, many years and clearly changed our business model. Hence, we are here today to talk about that.
Well, look, on that note, you mentioned there, we talked about it before, transforming. You've been through a journey that perhaps not many people have in terms of truly transforming the way that you work, and you kind of hinted at it there. What were the key drivers that brought about that change, and what did you do to overcome or I suppose navigate the things that must have got in the way on a transformation as drastic as the one that you did?
Yeah, and it would be nice if I could say that I was very clever and I'd done a great plan envisaging everything that would happen in the future, but actually I didn't, because we did, as I said, classroom training with a residential model, and on came something called COVID, and our concept was probably as COVID unfriendly as you get it, because people traveled to get to our training center, many by flight. And they lived in a hotel, close proximity, all the things that was just impossible with COVID. So where we've always have said we're 100% committed to the physical classroom.
Right. I'm gonna ask you a cheeky question.
Go on.
Because I ask everybody, because I know what the answer is. Were any of those things on your company risk register?
No. No,
Absolutely not.
No. There are other more softy things, but a pandemic that would mean we couldn't get people to our training center and literally were disallowed, or it was forbidden to do a class. We had not foreseen that by any stretch of imagination. So it was a change or die kind of scenario. So basically overnight, we switched to a virtual model. So people took the training from the comfort of their office, their home, using Teams like we are doing now. And it was clearly out of necessity.
Yeah.
But what we realized was it worked really well. And so for us, it meant, instead of instructors flying in, organizing all of that, they could just sit at their comfort, the delegates the same. And we soon realized, as I said, it worked. When we looked at the quality score, the feedback from delegates, we could see no difference.
Incredible, isn't it?
No difference at all. When COVID then started to sort of detract a little bit, and they say you can now run classes if you want to, sort of from a government point of view. And we said, okay, let's mix it. Let's give people the option. So we had people staying in the classroom or virtually. Then our quality score went down.
Wow.
Oh, really? That's
Absolutely,
interesting.
absolutely.
So
Wow.
a
That's really about
hybrid.
you have two audiences with two
Yeah.
complete set of expectations, and you're trying to accommodate both, and we failed because they were looking. The people in the
Incredible, isn't it?
classroom were saying, "Why are they sitting at home? It's a bit annoying. They should be here." The people at home were saying, "Why are they there having a bit of fun and a bit of banter, and why can't I be part of it?" And that impacted scores.
Wow. I mean, so real live A/B testing.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And so we quickly realized that we had to do one way or the other, and we could, besides what we believed before we started, see so many benefits with virtual that was the decision we made to
Very
go
cool.
fully virtual training.
That's really fascinating, Frank. So you mentioned that this transformation was obviously significant to your business, and then you discussed there the hybrid model and its effect on your like NPS scores as a result of the training. How did this change in the business model affect your financial performance, and what learnings did you get from looking at how it affected your profitability?
I mean, it turned out that virtual training was financially much better to us than in classroom. No need for classrooms, test rooms, laptops, receptionists. We were at a hotel where we had our training center. We paid for that. All kinds of overhead costs just disappeared out of the blue, and our margin went up 6-8% overnight, percentage points. Points overnight.
Wow.
And on top of that, it really allowed us to rethink the business model, because there's certain things you can do and there's a lot of things you can't do when you have quite a lot of overhead costs. When you get rid of that, it opens up some opportunities, and our sort of marginal cost went down significantly for adding a delegate to our classrooms.
Do you know,
And we really had to challenge traditional assumptions about how you run a training business and what people want. And really, I'm sure we have pushed some people away from us by saying we almost don't do classroom, but it has had so many benefits that we've said we do one thing and we try to do it really, really well, and that's where we focus all our efforts.
So look, this is close to my heart, because although I do procurement training, my journey is actually pretty much the same as yours. Exactly the same shock. It wasn't on my risk register either. And I've arrived at the same conclusion. Online, I still do a little bit of in person, but there was one thing about your offering that, you know, intrigued me when we were chatting before the call. It still intrigues me now. And, you know, I had a look at your website, unlimited training. Now, look, I'm procurement. I love a bargain when I see one. If someone says I can have all I want for one price, hey, happy days.
Me too.
I know, but how do you make that work? I mean, I mean, if you can, within commercial sensitivity, talk about how does the model work, and how, I mean, it sounds a nonsense, but how do you make it work for you when you're effectively giving everything to your students, or it sounds like it?
Yeah, and first of all, you can say it would not have been possible in our old model. There's too much overhead, too much unit cost for each delegate in the classroom. Right. But by cutting all of that away, then that's what has enabled the model. And we've talked about it for years, sort of random. Right. Everything else going to a subscription-based predictability. We see more and more of our competition over recent years are not coming from what I would call our traditional competition that do instructor-led training, but actually the online platforms of pre-recorded videos that makes a lot of content available on a subscription for a very low price, with its pros and definitely also its cons, but they are putting us more under pressure. So how could we respond to that? And actually, I think one of the pivotal moments of this actually is before COVID, because Microsoft, which is a big partner of us, and we do a lot of Microsoft training. I don't know, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, they introduced a program to their larger customers that they could get relatively cheap training that we should help them deliver, not just us, but their partners in general, learning partners. And they said, I don't think I'm allowed to say the numbers, so I won't, but no. You should train our customers, but you will only get this. And we were saying, oh, come on, we can't make money on that amount.
No.
Possible. But actually, we could. Not even could we make money, but when we took away the traditional assumptions and actually say, if we do it like this, actually we could make really good money from it.
Right.
Our business is all about the fill rate. It's all about how many people you have in the classroom.
Yeah.
Like the airlines, how many people are sitting in the seats when the flight takes off. And I don't think I offend anyone in our industry if I say it's probably around 5 to 6 on average. So what we've made our mission is really to remove all the barriers for people to get into the classroom, allowing more people to get access to instructor-led training so that we are not 5 on the classes, but 10, 15 or 20 people. And with really very small marginal cost. Clearly, all in all, it will have a really positive effect.
Very clever. Well, thank you.
Yeah, because basically you're saying, well, once we've got an instructor to deliver a course, the incremental cost of adding someone else onto that course when it's delivered over the web is minimal. So once you get your good fill rates, that's what allows the sort of unlimited training. And as you say, opens up training to perhaps people who may have had to put a business case forward for training in the past that they would have had to get sign off for why they need the training. Perhaps they might not have got that training or find it harder to get that training in the past. So I think being able to sort of spread knowledge can only be a good thing for social mobility in the workplace, right? If you can get
and when we did the sort of the product, sort of the starting point was, how can we do something that are so compelling that people can't say no? That's where we started, where I started the thought process. So, okay, now we have something. What objections could we get? We could get these and these. Okay, then we have to do something so that we can't get those objections. And that's also why, we've put a very aggressive price point, because we want to make a difference. And we want to really combine the best from the on-demand videos, the flexible, scalable business model, financial model, and the quality and the impact of instructor-led training, because I guarantee you very, very few people in the world will be able to pass an IT certification test based on an online course, mostly because people never get around to do it because they always postpone it. There's a lot of data saying that people start an online course and after 30 minutes they drop out because it's boring or they get something else to do. So getting into the classroom with the right instructor, getting through those things is very, very important for success.
I could not agree more. I do the same as you, e-learning, and without that live element, it's just not worth it.
No.
And I also think one key element is an instructor having a bit of a sense of humor to engage the delegates, because if it's all very sort of prim and proper and pre-recorded without much interaction, it doesn't make it fun, and therefore it doesn't get the engagement needed to learn. So listen, I've got a question for you, Frank. So I've done quite a lot of target operating model design over the years. And one thing I'm really interested in is how the COVID pandemic, a lot of businesses sort of faced this sort of adapt or die situation where they had to transform their businesses. Now, something I've seen in practice with target operating models is people saying, we want to be a streamlined business with more efficient processes, and they put this business case, we need to we've made many acquisitions or something, we need to revise our operating model. So you do this sort of target operating model design, work out what their organization should look like. It's a big project, you know, and finally you deliver them this plan, and with lots of back and forth. But then what often happens is, once you've presented it and you've implemented, say, SAP or something, and you've done the organizational redesign, and you've gone live, it just sits there, and there's no like revision of the operating model. It just sort of is, it just then becomes a steady state, and it waits until some other event that causes them to think, oh, actually we should really think about our operating model. So what I'm interested in is, why do you think companies need this adapt or die situation to transform, and what practically can be done to get companies to think about more about sort of embedding as part of BAU a kind of operating model update?
Yes, good question. And I think I will push a bit back to you guys, actually, because I think that the key reason is that controllers, finance people, other good people in this world, they will, if they are asked, if there's sort of a discussion about these things, most often they will change the numbers in the existing Excel files with the same assumptions that we've had before. You know, and then the numbers won't play out. So if you take our business, if I've come and say, let's go virtual, let's do, or even before virtual, let's do a subscription-based model. Any Excel file we would do would say it's not possible. Not possible, because no one dare change the underlying assumption of that Excel file, that we had all those costs. So you really need to get to the next layer and say, but what is it really what is the model first? And it needs to be very clear what assumptions are belonging to that model before you can put it into an Excel file.
Can you see me can you see me holding myself back from a rude comment about finance assumptions? I will be good. I'm behaving. It's all right. Claire knows, she can see it in my face.
Yeah.
But you know, you're right. Everyone. I mean, but to be honest, this is a very human reaction.
Absolutely.
You know, if you said, well, look, I go shopping, or I go shopping on Amazon, and I was doing a business model between the two before Amazon really became a thing, I had the same spreadsheet for the cost of going shopping in my cars, not because I could not visualize in my mind how different it would be. And I think that's the challenge, isn't it? It's
I think that's it. So how do you, and it's, I mean, a company can have maybe a visionary leader or anything, but you need often you need a lot of people behind it, you know, and we can even face it sometimes, discussions internally around pricing on unlimited. I need to know it's the pricing is the pricing. So that's
it's
part
almost,
of the design.
as you say, you need kind of a combination of visionary leadership, but also the opportunity in perhaps like away days or creative workspaces where you're asked to, like, what assumptions I'm making, what could we do differently, and perhaps, you know, when we go through that whole budgetary process, for example, for finance, you know, often a finance function will just take last year's budget, look at the assumptions and go, how have these assumptions changed, and roll it forward.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's the way it is, isn't it? And so you really need to challenge those assumptions that you work from, and be bold about some things, and for existing businesses who doesn't have a die or survival kind of scenario, there will be a lot of people saying, if we do this, then we don't get the revenue or the gross margin we normally get over here. Ooh, that part you're now reducing from X to X minus 10. Yes, I know, but actually it's because we want to get to X plus 20 or plus 30 over here. And then it just becomes this very, very difficult situation. So I know I sort of just pushed back on you, but it was just a bit of fun. But I know it's very, in reality, it's very difficult. And in our situation, I don't think we have changed if we hadn't been forced to it, to be honest.
No.
I can't see us by any stretch of imagination having moved to our current model if we hadn't been forced to. I can't see it.
And I guess, look, picking up on that, and again, you know, Claire will laugh. I always find a way to ask something related to sustainability, but actually, genuinely, you made this observation that one of the unintended consequences of the change of model was actually a pretty big play in the sustainability space, right?
Big time, big time.
Wow.
So we were not one of the good boys in the class previously because we had people flying in from all kinds of places, driving cars long distances, in a hotel with everything that comes along with it, blah, blah, blah. So, and again, the driver for our change was the business model. It was not environment, but actually we were interested in it, and we saw an opportunity to actually do something good as well. And we wanted to both qualify and quantify it. So we went for an ISO 14001 certification and have done all the calculations and stuff. And we get it to a number around 97% reduction in emission.
Wow.
I mean,
well, bravo you. I mean, that is incredible.
We had thousands of people a year traveling to that castle. We had, you know, and so if you just take all of that away, the number is massive. Massive.
Super cool.
We've made it an integrated part of our business now, not just with the virtual, clearly that's part of it, but also looking at our suppliers and other things that we do on a day-to-day to make sure that we and if a customer say to us, we want an on-site class in this location, we're not saying no, but we're definitely doing what we can to say, are you certain that's the right decision? Could we do it without flying people in, etc., etc.? Not, then we will fly the instructor to them, not fly 15 people to us. Those kind of things.
Well, there's a lot of people out there listening to this who I know are giving you applause in the background, because that, you know, that frankly, it's what we've all got to do. So brilliant.
So we've made a big play of that, and I'm really pleased with the progress and the results we are displaying in that area as well.
Fantastic.
Yeah, really fantastic. And I think it's going to be for sure a continued sustainability, ESG reporting, triple bottom line. It's only going to get more and more focus in the coming years. I love it. I feel sure we're just at the start of the story when it comes to reporting ESG and sustainability metrics.
Absolutely.
So before we wrap up, Frank, myself and Richard, we've talked quite a lot about, we've done 2 coffee breaks, in fact, on AI. So we did one at the start of the Procurement and Finance Coffee Break series, and then we did another update not that long ago on where we were seeing AI being introduced in the workplace. Interested in your take of where AI and possibly machine learning could have an impact on the training and education space, and you know, have you got any feelings on how you see these technologies shape the future of learning and skill development?
I mean, I probably do. I don't think I'm sort of the master of AI to sort of give the big, the real big story, but clearly having big impact. I believe that we will get more and more AI. I'm probably also belong to those who think it will not go as fast as people, or at least the organizations that are selling AI would like us to think it goes, because some of it, yes, it becomes more easy, but it's not that easy. I mean, we are an organization with normal systems and CRM systems, and you know, we still have people who are struggling updating that normally. How should they then, you know, manage an AI application that are still to do? But clearly, it will have an impact. It will impact in the classroom. It will impact the online platforms. But at the end of the day, in our world where we help people prepare for IT certifications, I mean, you can't become an Asia administrator by writing prompts. That's not possible.
No.
You still need to learn the technology. Then you can clearly use the AI models to help you learn. And it can, once you get to sort of become an Asia administrator or whatever it is, clearly you can definitely use AI to expand your knowledge, etc. But I don't think we should lose sight of the fact that people need to understand Asia administration, Asia development, data analytics, etc.,
Yeah.
to use these tools in an effective way. Absolutely.
Fantastic. Well, I knew we were going to have a big one today, and we definitely did. And honestly, I can't, thank you enough for so candidly sharing your journey, your commercial model, the benefits that you've seen. Because, look, at the end of the day, I'm in the same boat as you. I'm still learning, and anyone who, whether you're working for yourself or you're working for your own organisation or you're working for a big organisation, the lessons you've talked about. Absolutely spot on. And for me, the really, really important one is this idea that we are brilliant at responding and adapting when there's a shock. So why can't we do it without the shock?
Yes.
What is it that stops us doing what we're brilliant at doing when actually the fire's already lit? So I think, it's given me a lot to think about. But look, from my side, Frank, thank you very much indeed.
Yes, thanks, Frank. And do we know what the next subject for the Procurement and Finance Coffee Break is? I'm not sure we do we?
Whatever you tell me to do, Claire.
Anyway, until next time. Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Frank.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.